Hello everyone, welcome back to the fifth and final part of our Fintech mobile app tutorial. Previously, we developed the home page, the credit card section, the activity page with FL integration, the money transfer page, the payment provider interface. Today, we'll enhance the payment method page by implementing a modal sheet, allowing users to specify the amount they wish to send based on their chosen option, with the design being provided. So, with that said, let's jump right in. So this is the modal bottom sheet we're about to build. We'll be adding functionality to the confirm button that will pop up the modal bottom sheet and proceed to design the content in it. So let's do that. So in here we have the button we don't press. For now there is no functionality in here. So let's proceed to add our functionality that will pop up the modal bottom sheet. So when the button is pressed, we are going to show the bar modal bottom sheet, and that's a package coming from the modal bottom sheet. So make sure you have that imported. So this in the context and the builder takes in the context, then returns a widget we want to show in the modal sheet. So we'll be creating our custom widget, and the widget name is going to be the top up bottom sheet, which is not created. So I'll be creating it sooner. So when the button is pressed, we are going to show the bar modal bottom sheet and return a widget of top up modal bottom sheet. Make sure you have that import as well. So within the show modal bottom sheet over here, you can pass in the shape, and the shape here takes in the rounded rectangle border. So in here we can pass in the border radius, and it's going to be border radius dot vertical. We pass in the top value, right? We want the top edges of the modal bottom sheet to be rounded. So with the top, we pass in the radius dot circular with a value of 20. So let's proceed to create a file that will contain the top up bottom sheet. So it's going to be within the widget directory, and it's going to be a .dat file. And the name of the file is going to be the top up sheet. So in this file is going to be a stateful widget with the name of the top up sheet. So if I get it right, so I'll grab the name in here, the top up bottom sheet, then return it over here, just like this. And let's import the scaffold with the material import as well. So over here, you can import our top up bottom sheet to get rid of the errors and provide the cons in here. So when you check the content, you can see the currently selected payment method displays on the top of the modal bottom sheet. So we need to pass that information to the top up bottom sheet, right? So in here, we need to pass in the selected provider chosen. That is going to be the bank transfer and also the other methods such as the PayPal. So we need to know which one is selected and pass that to the top bottom sheet. So it's going to accept in the selected provider and also the image as well. So to get the image, it's going to be based on the selected provider, and for that I have two functions to return that. So we have a function that will get us the account provider and also get us the image for the provider. So in here it takes in the provider, and based on provider you can return the appropriate image from the assets. So with the image you can call the function get image for provider, then we can pass in our selected provider and can based on that to switch and get us the right image. And we're doing same thing with the account as well. You can call the function get account for provider, passing in the provider and check if it's Bank of America. We are going to return this kind of string with the pin. So once we have this, let's work within the top up sheet, right, to get rid of the errors in here. So within the top up sheet over here, we need to accept in the selected provider the image and also the account as well. So I'll be creating a variable to hold those values, right? It's going to be the selected provider over here. So I'll repeat it 2 more times. The second one is going to be the account, and also the third one is going to be the image. So make sure we require that in the constructor, just like this. There we go. And when we check the top up, we can see our error is fixed. So let's proceed in our top up sheet over here. So in here, we're not going to return a scaffold, right? It's basically going to be a container. So you're going to return a container in here. Then we set a height to this container. So the height of this container is going to be 70%, right? So to do that, we target the media query of context. We can access the height in here and multiply it by 0.7, and this will take 70% of the device height. And let's also provide some padding to this container. That's going to be edge instead of all. It passes in a value of 20, just like this. So the chart of this container is basically going to be a column, and this column takes in a children where you can specify a list of widgets in here. So let's give it a try. You can see a nice modal bottom sheet in here with a bar as well, right? So let's proceed to providing the content. First of all, let's set the cross-axis alignment of this column to be cross-axis alignment dot start. And in this content, we are going to have the selected payment method, right? I want to just return the widget of selected payment method, but it's having a different trailing icon. So, and for that, I'll be copying it manually, right? It's basically a list style with a title, subtitle, and a trailing. The trailing is the only thing that differs over here, and I don't want to pass it manually to each of them. So I'll grab the list style and paste it in the column. So in here, it accepts the image, right? Now that will be from the widgets.image, and also it will be accepting the text as well. That's going to be the selected provider. The subtitle is going to be for the account. And we're changing the trailing, right? The trailing is going to be the arrow icon that point downwards, right? So it's going to be an icon. So this icon is going to be icons.keyboard arrow down. There we go. So let's give this icon a size of 25 and also a color. So the color of this icon is going to be colors.gray. There we go. So let's save in the changes over here. So when you check, you can see we have the current selected one. Let's change that and confirm. You can see it changes accordingly. So let's choose the other payment method as well. There we go. So we need to proceed with the text input and also the icon buttons, right? And that's going to be below the list style over here. So below the list style, we are going to have a text, and for that, let's first of all give a space in between the selected provider account. So it's going to have a space of 20, and below that we are going to have a text, and the text is going to be an amount. So let's start this text, right? So the text style can pass in the font size and also bolding the text as well. So the font size is going to be having a value of 16, and also a font weight of bold. There we go. So you can see the amount. So let's also provide a spacing in here. So this space is going to be 10, and below that we are going to have a row, and this row is going to contain the two icon button with the amount displaying. So it's going to be in a row format. So let's set the main axis alignment of this row to be main axis alignment, the space between. And in this row, we are going to return an icon button. So it comes with the on press and also the icon. So the icon is going to be the remove icon. So in here, it's going to take in the icons.remove. So since it's an icon button, you can style this icon button to suit our needs, right? So you can pass in the style property. The style is going to be elevator button.start from. Give it a background color, and this color is going to be the gray color of 100. So this is fully rounded, right? So let's change that. So to change that, we can also pass in the shape, and the shape is going to be the rounded rectangle border. Where you can pass in the border radius, that will make it not fully rounded. So the rounded rectangle border in here will be taking in the border radius. The border radius is going to be having a value. So it's going to be a circular border radius with a value of 8. There you go. can see looks good. So next to the icon button is going to be the text that will display the amount selected. So next to the icon button below over here is going to be having a text. So this text is going to display the amount selected. So it's going to be a string of the amount. So initially, let's pass in a value. So let's pass in a value of 100. We'll come back to that later. So let's start this amount, right? So with the text style, we can provide it a font size. So a font size of 24 and also a font weight to be bold. So font weight dot bold. So once we have this, we can save in the changes to see the effect. We need one more icon button below next to the text. So this icon is going to be the plus icon. So the name is going to be icons.add. There we go. So you can see we have something similar, right? Let's proceed. First of all, let's declare a variable that will hold the amount instead of manually passing the variable. So the variable is going to be the amount and initially assign it a value of 100. So we can pass the amount variable to the text in here. So we can pass the amount variable in here. And convert that to be having no decimal. So to do that, we set that to be to as string as first, then pass in a fractional value of 0. So next to the row is going to be the slider, right? So make sure you are out of the row. You're going to have the slider widget in here. So let's first of all space out by giving it a height of 20. And below that is going to be the slider widget. That will be taking the value. Then we provide it the amount value. And also the onChange will be accepting the value. And in here we can set state and assign the amount value, the new value you'll be having. So we set state and we assign the amount value, the value coming in. And this slider is going to have a min value of 5 and also the maximum value of 500. We also set the active color of this to be from the RGB. So color dot from RGB passing the red, green, and blue value. So instead of repeating yourself, you can have your directory where you keep your colors and reference from that. There we go. You can see our slider nicely in here, and it adjusts and change the text over there as well. So let's also space out between the slider and proceed with the next widget to create, right? So you are going to have a center widget, and this center is going to return a wrap widget that will automatically wrap to the next line. So in here you provide a spacing of 20 and also a round spacing of 20 as well. So the wrap is in the children, which accepts array, right? So we are going to have a list of numbers in here passed in, so we can convert that to a list. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 as seen on the design, right? So based on our list over here, we can map. So we can access the map method, right? Where you can access each value in here. So once we get a value, you can return the component and render the value. So in here, I'm going to return an encode, right? That's more or less like a button. So the child of this encode is going to be a container widget, and in this container we are going to have a width of 70 and also a height of 70. Right, we provide some decoration to this container. So with that we can assign it decoration value. So let's get rid of the error by providing the to list, and let's set the alignment in here to be alignment dot center and proceed to give it decoration. So you can pass in the box decoration. So in this box decoration we set the color, and the color is going to be based on the amount selected, right? So we can give it a different color. So if the amount is going to be equal to the value being passed in, we can set the color to be from the RGB. Else we are going to stay the default gray color. And also let's provide some border radius to this container as well, right? So you can pass in the border radius the circular, pass in a value of 12. So you can save in the changes in here. So to do that, let's render the chart of the container. It's going to basically return a test widget with a value being passed in, right? Remember, we look through the values so we can assess each value, right? So with the test, it's going to have the value. And let's start this test as well. So we can pass in the test style, change the color, and the color is also going to be based on the amount. We check if that's equal to the value being passed in. We change the color to be a white color, right, with a background of the RGB color. So it's going to be colors.white, right? Remember, we are rendering the text in here, and the default one is going to be the black color if the amount is not equal to the value. As you can see, the effect. So let's change the gray color to be having a value of 100. There we go. You can see looks much similar over here. So let's provide some font weight to this value, and that's going to be font weight .600, and also a font size. So it's going to be having a font size of 17. There we go. And that's basically it. So the selected one is going to have the background color of this RGB. So let's pass in the border radius to this encode, and also this encode comes with the on tab. So in here you can set state, then I'll assign our amount value to be having the value being passing. You convert that to a double as well. So let's give it a try. You can see it adjusts itself according to the slider value. And when you change the slider value, it also affects the one currently selected one. How cool is this? So let's proceed. So below that, we are going to have a button, right? And remember, we already have similar button implemented. So you can make it simple by extracting it as a widget and basically calling that widget and passing the necessary informations. So I can just grab this button over here, and within my top-up sheet, below the center over here, I'm going to return the elevator button, and with on press is going to be an empty for now, and changing the text in here to be top up, just like this. There we go. So let's space out between the button, right? So we're going to have a size box with a height of 60 in here. So let's save in the changes, and that's pretty much it. How cool is this? So let's compare with the design we are having. So when I select a different payment method, it adjusts accordingly, and also the slider also adjusts accordingly based on the value selected. So let's add functionality to increase and decrease the amount selected, right? So with the icon button over here, you can set state. So basically in here we check, we don't want to have a negative value, right? So we check the amount. If that's greater than 5, only then are we going to decrease the amount, right? So we decrease the amount by a value of 5. So the shorthand is amount, then minus equal to then 5. So we make a check over here. So when the amount is 5, you can make a decrease in there. And in case we are adding, we are basically going to add a value of 5 in here. So the amount is going to be top up by adding a value of 5. So it's going to have amount plus or equal to 5, just like this, and saving the changes. So with this functionality, we can have our increment and decrement value. How cool is this? That's basically seen on this tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.